welcome back to the channel. I am Jess, you're watching Keto Rewind, and today is a week 162 update, I think, of my keto journey, my journey to rewind my health from morbidly obese to a healthy weight with a ketogenic lifestyle. Remember, this is just my story. I'm not a healthcare expert, not a doctor, not a nutritionist, none of that stuff. This is just my story. So this is a really good video today, and I hope that I can get it out in a way that makes sense, because I've been doing a lot of research on the mental and emotional aspects of a weight loss journey. And as I was talking with my mom this morning, she dropped an awesome line, which was the title for today's video, is it is so much easier to lose weight than it is to fix your head. And this speaks volume, because that's why there's always this cycle that you just seem to not ever be able to get out. So for the past like 2-3 weeks now, I have been really digging deep into the emotional side of my journey. It's frustrating to get, a pound within your weight, your goal weight, and to put back 40 pounds back in the wrong direction, and then keep re-losing and having all time go by and just re-losing the same 20 pounds. It's just frustrating to be in that loop. So, you get to a point where you're like, that's it. What in the heck? What am I not doing here? And that's like pushed me to do some of the stuff that I've been doing for the past couple of weeks. Now, if I could give in a nutshell, if somebody said, if you could do it all over again, would you do keto again? Would you do, what would you do? Well, the first thing I would say is, before I even thought to lose one single pound, I would get my head fixed first. It would save so much aggravation. The hard work is your head. It's not the weight. The weight can fall off. You can lose the weight millions of different ways. But how do you lose weight, keep it off, and literally change your life? Well, that starts with what's in here. So, for the past week in general, specifically, I've been working on new coping techniques other than running to food. And I've done a lot of research in this area. I started listening to a bunch of different podcasts, a bunch of different YouTubers, a bunch of different articles that I found on Google that I've searched, this topic, and then saw, some doctors and stuff, their work and stuff. So I was really digging into having as much info as possible on this topic. Because when I'm stressed or I'm having anxiety, that's where I'm running into the wall. And I'm not getting over that wall. I'm just running into the wall and then going back another direction, which is all good and all, because sometimes that's good. You find new ways and all that stuff, but it's also good to conquer that wall too. You don't always just have to find a new way. You can conquer it and go over that obstacle. So I'm going to speak more on those techniques that I used this week, because they need their whole other video. It's a whole video's worth of explanation. So see that probably tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, something like that. I'll be making that video. But I've also been focusing on listening to my body this week, and knowing when, listening truly to my body when I've had enough, and knowing the point that I've chosen to eat more than when I know I've had enough. Recognizing that signal or that moment, and then trying a way to pivot away from eating more food. So I did that a lot this past week. Again, that's going to be a whole nother video. But it was an eye-opening experience, and I realized I need to drink a lot more water, and that's something that I really neglected in this journey. Water was never a priority, and water and sleep and coping techniques have become up there in the list of the top tips to get this journey going. So with all the opinions out there to lose weight, it's impossible to even know where to begin. So when I started this weight loss journey, weight was what I wanted to fix. I had no idea all this other stuff was going to come up. I had no idea all this other stuff even bothered or triggered or was even going on in my head. It was an eye-opening experience in itself to get to this point where it's all right, I can lose weight. That's not a problem. Why am I keep re-losing that same 20 pounds? Why can't I get out of this never-ending loop, right? And also another reason for this is, when if you go on social media, if you go on Google, if you go on, a commercial, there are probably 100 ads, pills, supplements, diet plans, you name it, to lose the weight. For every one article maybe a doctor wrote, one study that barely got noticed on the importance of fixing your head, the ratio of what you're bombarded with is only weight loss. So when I started this journey, I knew the importance of therapy for my mom because she had to take that in order to get her lap band. But it was one voice in the sea of thousands of do this diet plan, do this, eat this food, don't eat that food, take this pill. You know, like her voice got, it just got clobbered with the amount of people on the other side. So it's no wonder when everybody tries to lose weight, they keep failing because they're not doing this part. They're focusing on those other things that are easy to do. Anybody can take a pill. Anybody can take a supplement. Anybody can do a certain diet plan for, you know, all of that stuff can work. Well, I mean, I don't think diet pills work. Let me take that back. But I'm saying in general, like there's a million ways to lose weight. So to overcome the emotional side of things, it's why it's like so uneven in the grand scheme of things. Like the importance of that is so minimal. And now that I'm at this point in my journey, it is so loud how important that is. So my advice to you, if I could do it all over again, would totally be research a good therapist, a good support group, you know, like just a doctor, you know, a friend that's done this, and do your research in Google, in whatever search engine you use, about the emotional effects of dopamine, the hormones that are in our body. Like, do your research there and get a game plan there first before even trying to lose a single pound. Because I haven't wasted my time for 3 years because I obviously have lost a ton of weight. But I have wasted time where I could have been over it by now had I started properly in the first place by addressing my head. I'm 3 years into my weight loss journey and I'm still 40 pounds away. I got within a pound of my goal weight and went back and gained the 40, you know? So I just wouldn't have to be in this loop had I maybe started at first with the proper coping techniques in my head, you know, the proper therapist, the proper, you know, podcast, anything that's addressing up here before I worried about what went in my mouth. Obviously, clearly, diet does play a role in the overall weight loss journey, but the head is still the cat's meow. Okay, so over the past couple of weeks, working on these issues, I have been noticing signs that have been screaming in my body that I was ignoring before, and I wasn't even aware of some of these things before. And it's crazy. It's eye-opening. First thing that I would say that came to the top of my mind is I didn't realize how thirsty I was and how not hungry I was. Every time you feel your hunger, you automatically think that it's hunger, your food, it's, you know, half the time I've been thirsty, you know, and that's because of my lack of focus on drinking water. Something as basic as that. But water helps keep you filled up, it hydrates you, it flushes. I mean, there's such a role of water. And then obviously I work out a lot. I put my hours into the gym. Of course I'm gonna be thirsty as well. I'm not only using more water because I'm active, but I'm not replenishing that, you know, and so now I'm getting a hunger signal and it's really, I'm thirsty, you know, so it's like, dang it. I can feel my body signal now as I'm eating slower, I'm not distracted, I'm taking time for my meals to eat them, I'm not just gobbling and going. I feel the sign in my body that says, Jess, we've had enough, you can stop here. And I for the first time in my life, I feel that in a meal that wasn't a Thanksgiving-sized meal. You know, like, you know, the plate at Thanksgiving, you know, just about need a tray. I would feel this feeling. I'm feeling it now eating a regular meal. And it's like, what? You know, like, what? And then it came to the point where you look down and there's more on your plate, and there's that social dilemma. Well, I don't want to waste food. I made all this food. This is good food, and you know, I want this food, and it's like all this stuff starts playing, and like If you had enough, it doesn't matter what comes after. Your body has had enough and it told you. And if that means throw the rest of your food away or reheat or package it up and put it back in the fridge, whatever the case may be, do it. By choosing to go past that point, that's when this eternal loop is never going to end. And it's just going to keep regaining and losing and, just being just a hot mess. When you choose to go over that point, you're choosing not to change your habits, not to fix your patterns, not to overcome the things that are getting into your way not to overcome those things that are clearly in your way to getting to the goal. So my plan for this week is going to be continue getting my workouts in and drinking my water, water with electrolytes, that kind of thing. Listen to my body when it's telling me enough. I've had enough. Or, I actually am hungry, the deciphering there. And then if I'm choosing to eat past that point, I need to get a journal out and I need to write what's happening, what am I feeling, what's the situation, what am I eating. And that's the part. And then now once I'm in that zone, I need to figure out the next step. And the thing is, I was doing some research. I'm going to link this article down below. I'm going to read it verbatim because I don't want to mess this up. But the prefrontal cortex, also known as the PFC, is responsible for handling executive functions, which includes planning, organizing, making choices, being creative, as well as for the impulse, the impatience, and the irritability. So this constitutes double trouble for those of us that are food addicts. Not only is it necessary to eat more food to experience normal reward and pleasure, but it's much more difficult to stop after that first bite. This is why stressing moderation to someone who's a food addict is a moot point. What can I do? How do you get that imbalance back? Well, first of all, you have to manage stress and anxiety because that'll help regulate the PFC. I'll be trying meditation this week. Well, I've kind of dabbled a little last week and that inspired me to keep going. And along with getting my workouts in, like the lower I can keep cortisol, the lower I can keep my stress, the less the need to go past that point when it comes to am I full or do I need to really keep going point that your body's screaming at you. Your mind plays a crucial role in reclaiming a hijacked reward system and sustaining food recovery from an addiction. A strong, well-trained PFC has a better chance of helping you remain vigilant, make the right choices, instead of going for the hyper-palatables, carbs, breads, pastas, those kind of things, and select fresh, whole ingredient foods instead of going after the Twinkie or the processed food or, the stronger that PFC is, the better you are going to be trained to stop when you've had enough. So that's what I'm working on this week. It's powerful to look inside it's powerful to start beginning to unpack this topic. Because now when you eat, you're more aware. Now when I eat, I'm more aware of what I'm doing. I know when I've crossed the point, so I know when that's a problem and I need to work on that time, figure out what went wrong, and try to notice patterns and get better at stopping at the point where my body says, Jess, all done, we're good. Because your body knows what you need. There'll be times where, I'll ask myself the question and I really am still hungry, but it isn't to that point where you legitimately know you're full and you've crossed over and continue eating for whatever reason it may be. So, and that's the part where I will stop the yo-yoing, the never-ending loop if I can figure this part out. Because we all know I can lose weight, but how do you lose weight and keep it off and change your life? And by creating new coping habits, new ways to skill yourself to recognize the signs, the more this will get easy. And it's not going to happen this week. This is going to be something I'm going to be working on for the next several months. I would say in general. This week it's gonna seem like so hard and rigid and you know, in your face, and then next week I'll turn the dial a little bit better because I'm getting better at it. And the longer that I do that, the longer and the easier it will be to just do this. It'll be the new habits, because the only way to make new habits is to create them and swap bad habits out for the good, new, healthier habits. So I hope that all makes sense. I will dig deeper a lot into this. I know the weight loss side of my story was pretty cool, you know, but when I started running into the wall of the mental side and slowing down and backtracking, a lot of people took off, you know, like I was no longer useful. But there's a reason why I ran into those walls, and I know I can help a lot of people. If I can figure this out, you know I'm going to share this with you. And eventually, I'm going to have the recipes for success. So anyways, come with me, do this, let's dive into the hard stuff, and let's start fixing our heads. So I am Jess, you're watching Keto Rewind. Go be great.